Do emotions control your life? Are your actions dictated by anger, love, guilt, or fear? What if I told you that the men who truly hold power feel nothing, and because of that, they control everything? In this video, we reveal the dark, forgotten truths of Niccolò Machiavelli, how emotional detachment is the key to unshakable influence. If you've ever been manipulated, betrayed, or overpowered, it's time to reclaim control. In the cold theater of politics and power, Niccolò Machiavelli identified an uncomfortable truth, a truth that most men fear, and few dare to confront. Emotions are not a source of strength, they are liabilities. Left unchecked, they are open wounds, easy targets for manipulation, distraction, and ruin. A man ruled by emotion is not his own master. He is a servant to his impulses, to the schemes of others, and to the chaos of the moment. Machiavelli did not write from the comfort of idealism. He wrote from the ashes of fallen republics and betrayed princes. He had seen firsthand how emotional governance, whether born from excessive mercy, vengeful fury, or romantic delusions, led powerful men to destruction. In The Prince, he makes a clear and sober declaration: those who lead must not lead with their hearts. The heart is too soft, too fragile, too easily pierced by betrayal or love or guilt. The ruler must be a master of perception and consequence, not of feelings. The world does not reward emotional vulnerability. It exploits it. The moment you reveal that you can be provoked, that your sense of justice can be stirred into a rational action, that your loyalty can be purchased with flattery or affection, you cease to be in control. You become a puppet, not because you are weak, because you are predictable. This predictability is precisely what makes emotions dangerous. If others can calculate how you will respond to insult, flattery, pain, or praise, they can choreograph your behavior. They will know what to say to make you act against your own interest. They will know when to smile, when to cry, when to appear wounded, just to pull your strings. To the emotionally attached man, even a lover's tears can become a chain around his neck. Even a friend's loyalty can become a noose, if it is allowed to obscure truth and strategy. Machiavelli observed that the political arena is not a battlefield of ideals. It is a game of perception, control, and survival. Emotions cloud perception. They make men believe in what they wish were true, rather than what is. The prince who allows sentiment to guide his hand will misjudge enemies, misplace trust, and miscalculate threats. He will believe a flattering diplomat over a silent warning. He will show mercy when swift punishment is needed. He will hesitate when resolve is essential. And yet, the danger does not only lie in one's own emotions, but in how others weaponize theirs. A clever adversary will not strike with a blade. He will strike with guilt. He will cry betrayal. He will accuse you of heartlessness. He will call upon your honor, your humanity, your past. And if you answer with emotion, if you feel the need to defend your virtue, to prove your heart, you have already lost. You have entered the game on his terms. The Machiavellian mind understands this. In the realm of strategy, there are no feelings, only outcomes. The emotional man is reactive. The strategic man is calculating. The former clutches his chest when he's insulted. The latter studies the insulter's intention. The former forgives too soon, punishes too late, and regrets too often. The latter acts with deliberate precision, because his actions are not chained to feeling, but tethered to result. To dominate in a world built on manipulation, betrayal, and illusion, a man must do more than suppress emotion. He must see emotion for what it is: a tool when used in others, a trap when indulged in himself. He must know that appearances are more powerful than inner truth. That feigned love may win loyalty, but real love makes him vulnerable. That public compassion may strengthen rule, but private attachment will weaken it. Machiavelli's brilliance lies not in teaching cruelty, but in revealing that sentimentality is often the more dangerous vice. He saw that men often justified irrationality by calling it moral, when in fact it was emotional cowardice. They avoided hard decisions in the name of virtue, not because they were good, but because they were afraid to feel the guilt that came with necessary action. In contrast, the ruler who separates his personal feeling from his public duty, sacrifices the comfort of emotion for the clarity of power, does not destroy his humanity. He masters it. In the writings of Machiavelli, a central theme emerges again and again: the idea that passion is chaos, while logic is control. To the average man, Passion is mistaken for power. He believes that intensity of feeling equals strength of purpose. But in the mind of Machiavelli, this is a dangerous delusion. He observed that those who act from the heat of emotion are like ships in a storm, captained by madness. They drift without strategy, crash upon rocks, and confuse action with direction. Passion blinds, logic sees. To govern effectively, or even to simply navigate a hostile world, a man must submit to reason. Not to ideals, not to hopes, not to the romance of justice, but to pure, calculated reason. Passion, for all its fire, is unstable. It flares quickly and burns out just as fast. It ignites wars that could have been avoided and destroys alliances that should have been preserved. In the world of Machiavelli, where survival outweighs virtue, every passionate outburst is a risk, and every emotional reaction is a flaw that can be exploited. When a prince rules with passion, he may seem admirable to the people for a time. They may call him courageous, or moral, or noble. This admiration is shallow, short-lived, and prone to betrayal. The very citizens who cheer his passionate justice today will condemn him tomorrow when that same passion turns against their interests. People are fickle. Passion is unreliable. But logic remains firm, cold, and unyielding. It does not betray the hand that wields it. It does not shift with the wind of public opinion. Logic delivers results. Passion delivers theatrics. Machiavelli writes not to the dreamer, but to the leader. He does not seek to inspire feelings of hope, but to instill ruthless clarity. In his world, the ends often justify the means. Not because cruelty is noble, but because results are what matter. A prince who hesitates to act harshly, out of emotional softness, may lose his throne, his kingdom, or his life. He who is afraid to commit necessary acts because of internal hesitation is a man unfit to rule. The strategic man, Machiavelli teaches, must be willing to suppress his natural emotional impulses and instead respond with cold analysis. If mercy will strengthen him, he must show it, not out of love, but out of calculation. If cruelty will prevent greater chaos, he must administer it swiftly, efficiently, and without remorse. It is not a question of morality. It is a question of outcome. Hot passion demands revenge for an insult. Cold logic asks whether revenge benefits power. One is noise. The other is strategy. To lead with logic is not to abandon all emotion, but to subordinate it. Emotion becomes a servant, not a master. A prince may appear passionate, may display grief or joy when it serves a purpose, but inwardly he must remain unshaken. The battlefield of politics demands this restraint. Every passionate leader eventually finds himself at the mercy of those who are calmer, slower, more deliberate. Men who do not flinch when insulted or panic when challenged. Even in personal life, the man guided by logic stands above the man consumed by feeling. Where passion leads to obsession, jealousy, recklessness, logic demands patience and long-term planning. A hot-headed man may destroy in minutes what took years to build. A cold strategist measures each step, each word, each alliance. He is not tempted by the sweetness of momentary emotion. He is guided only by what brings him closer to power, protects what power he already holds. Machiavelli's notion of a prince is not one of cruelty for its own sake, one who is cruel only when necessary and always with precision. Such a man cannot afford to be passionate. His mind must be like a blade, sharp, cold, and controlled by an even colder hand. The passions of others may serve him. Their fury can be manipulated. Their hopes can be used, but his own passions must be caged, studied, and used sparingly, like a dangerous fire kept behind stone walls. Detachment, in the eyes of Machiavelli, is not a weakness. It is the foundation of enduring power. To detach is to separate one's identity from the chaos of the world. To observe, analyze, and act without being moved by personal emotion, moral confusion, or momentary sentiment. It is not apathy, it is mastery. It is the ability to remain calm while others are drowning in storms of feeling, the power to remain immovable while the rest of the world trembles with indecision. Detachment is the trait that distinguishes the sovereign from the servant, the strategist from the follower, the manipulator from the manipulated. Machiavelli understood that attachment is a form of bondage. To be attached to people, outcomes, principles, or feelings is to create invisible strings that others can pull. The prince who is too attached to the affection of his people becomes afraid to displease them. He hesitates to act decisively. He softens his justice. He exposes his vulnerability, all to preserve their approval. But that approval is a fickle illusion. The same people who cheer your name today will curse it tomorrow if their interests shift. To be ruled by the affection of the masses is to be ruled by a sea of emotions you cannot predict or control. The same principle applies in personal matters. The man who is emotionally entangled in relationships, friendships, and the approval of others finds himself constantly pulled in opposing directions. Every insult feels like an injury. Every betrayal feels like death. Every perceived failure becomes a wound to the ego. He is no longer capable of strategic action because he is constantly reacting to pain, praise, or fear. Such a man cannot dominate. He can only defend. He spends his energy on self-preservation rather than conquest. Machiavelli saw that the truly powerful individual must build a fortress not of stone. This fortress is built through detachment. The man who is detached cannot be manipulated. His enemies cannot provoke him. His allies cannot guilt him. His emotions cannot enslave him. He becomes untouchable not because he is invisible, but because he is immovable. His face may express concern, his words may show compassion, but inside he remains entirely uninvolved. This is not deception, it is protection. Detachment does not mean inaction. On the contrary, it allows for the most effective, deliberate action possible. The detached man can make hard decisions without flinching. He can execute a betrayal if it serves a higher objective. He can destroy a rival, terminate an alliance, or walk away from comfort and tradition. Not because he lacks feeling, but because he is not ruled by it. He has chosen outcome over emotion. He has chosen dominance over distraction. This clarity gives him the advantage over all others. Where others hesitate, he strikes. Where others need time to recover from emotional injury, he moves forward. Where others seek moral permission, he acts with authority, because he is not waiting for internal alignment with an ideal. He is already aligned with his objective to rule, to survive, to win. Machiavelli would argue that detachment is the source of true freedom. Freedom not in the romantic sense, but in the strategic sense, freedom from being controlled by circumstances, expectations, or relationships. The detached man is not cold for the sake of cruelty. He is cold because warmth invites dependence. He is unshaken not because he feels nothing, but because he refuses to let feeling dictate what must be done. Detachment, then, is not a lack of humanity. It is the mastery of it. To dominate in any arena, political, social, economic, one must learn to watch without reacting, to listen without assuming, to move without explaining. Every attachment creates a weakness. Every bond that is not rooted in utility becomes a liability. Every moment of emotional indulgence becomes a crack in the armor. Machiavelli knew that rulers cannot afford sentimentality, that leaders who feel too much often fall hardest, and that control begins where emotion ends. To be powerful in a world governed by appearances, a man must not reject emotion entirely. He must learn to perform it. Machiavelli did not advocate for the cold and robotic suppression of all feeling. Rather, he taught that a ruler must become a grand actor upon the stage of life. He must understand the strategic use of emotion, not as a genuine expression of the soul, but as a carefully designed illusion meant to persuade, manipulate, dominate. In this, the true prince is both politician and performer, wearing masks not out of deceit, but out of necessity. People do not follow logic, they follow feelings. They do not vote, obey, or rebel because of reasoned arguments. They do so because they feel inspired, outraged, hopeful, or afraid. Machiavelli knew that the masses, and even many so-called elites, are driven by perception more than truth. A ruler who relies solely on rationality to influence others will find himself ignored or resisted, but one who appears to feel, who seems to weep with the people's sorrow, burn with their anger, rejoice in their victories, gains their loyalty, even if he remains internally unmoved. This is the paradox Machiavelli reveals. The one who feels nothing must appear to feel everything. Emotional illusion is the weapon by which the cold strategist becomes adored by the warm-hearted crowd. It is the bridge between control and influence. The effective prince weeps at funerals, not because his heart is broken, but because tears protect him from suspicion. He shows joy in victory not because he is elated, but because it inspires confidence in his rule. He gives speeches filled with passion, conviction, and patriotic fervor, not because he believes, but because belief is contagious and power is drawn to those who inspire it. To master this art, A man must study emotion the way an artist studies color. He must learn the facial expressions, the tone of voice, the timing of a tear, the trembling of a lip, the silence that suggests grief, the laughter that simulates joy. He must become fluent in the language of feeling, even as he feels nothing. The performance must be so convincing that not even his closest advisors suspect its fabrication. The goal is not to deceive for pleasure, but to control the environment through performance. Machiavelli was deeply aware that hypocrisy is not a flaw in leadership. It is a feature. The ability to present one image while hiding another is essential to survival. Lions may rule with force, but foxes rule with cunning. The fox fakes injury to lure his prey. The prince fakes virtue to shield his ambition. Both survive not by strength, but by manipulation. To openly proclaim detachment is to invite rebellion. To quietly practice it while displaying the right emotions is to secure loyalty and fear alike. The illusion of emotion also serves another function. It allows the prince to disarm his enemies. When a man appears emotional, he appears vulnerable. When he appears vulnerable, others underestimate him. They mistake softness for weakness. But what they cannot see is that behind the tears is calculation, behind the empathy is strategy. This misjudgment is fatal to rivals and advantageous to the ruler. The man who is underestimated is the man who strikes hardest when no one expects it. There is also great utility in knowing when to show emotion and when to withdraw it. The strategic man may appear merciful one day and severe the next, not out of inconsistency, but because the contrast creates fear. One moment he is warm, generous, forgiving, the next he is distant, ruthless, cold. This oscillation keeps others uncertain. They cannot predict his behavior, and unpredictability is power. It keeps people obedient, careful, and cautious. They do not know what will provoke his wrath or earn his favor. And that is precisely what maintains his control. Machiavelli's prince does not rage with real fury, nor does he love with genuine passion. He simulates both, always aware of the effect his displays will have on the minds of others. His loyalty is measured. His love is strategic. His fear is calculated. He is a conductor of emotional atmospheres, shaping the moods of entire courts, nations, or organizations without ever letting his own mood interfere. He controls not only the outer world, but the perception of his inner world, and in that lies his greatest mastery. In the end, the path to power, as Machiavelli reveals, does not belong to the most emotional, the most compassionate, or the most idealistic. It belongs to the one who masters himself, the one who feels nothing, yet appears to feel everything, the one who detaches inwardly while entangling others outwardly, the one who silences the noise of the heart so that the voice of strategy may speak clearly. This is not cruelty for its own sake, nor nihilism dressed as wisdom. It is survival sharpened into art. In a world that rewards emotional indulgence with short-lived applause and punishes clarity with isolation, the Machiavellian man walks a solitary path, not because he lacks feeling, but because he refuses to be ruled by it. He does not flinch when insulted, does not panic in crisis, does not crumble under betrayal. He stands, observes, waits, and acts only when the moment is ripe. And when he does, his victory is total. To feel nothing is not to be empty. It is to be full of focus. To control everything is not to dominate others by force, but to master the only battlefield that truly matters, the mind. Those who burn with passion are easily consumed by it. Those who chase justice without calculation are destroyed by it. But those who temper their nature, who sharpen their detachment into discipline, who learn to wear masks without becoming them, these are the ones who rise. These are the ones who rule. Feel nothing. Control everything. The world does not bend to the loudest voice. It bends to the calmest mind.